Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I just had a great Bible study with my family, and with everything that I got going on, I'm not gonna even pretend like I wasn't a little distracted with everything that's been going on, versus in my personal life, and also, with everything that's happening in the world, things that we've seen these last couple of weeks. It just really kind of left me in a space where I was space-y, I can tell you. But I got the gist of what we were talking about, and it was a carryover from the last time we spoke. We didn't do our Bible study last week, but the week before that, it was all about giving, at the end of the day. And I said, and told you guys before we were playing the Suns or during the Suns game, that giving was what it's all about, man. And it's not just about giving your time, but giving your energy. And that's more so what we talked about today, the balance of, if everyone gives, then everyone will either have what they need or a little more than what they need to give to others. And that's what it's all about, is that balance of giving. For me, in the circumstance that I'm dealing with, is trying to find a balance between when you have someone that you care a great deal about who's going through something, and they need to do something that maybe doesn't sit right with you in order for them to be okay. That's a form of giving. If you can sacrifice your own comfort, you sacrifice your own whatever the case may be, so that they can live in the way that they need to live and find the peace that they need, because otherwise they don't have it. At what point do you find yourself giving too much, or allowing yourself to sit in spaces that are not right for you, to assure that those people can both have what they need and you and still have you in that process as a friend, or whatever role you play. Sometimes you can find yourself crossing over that threshold between giving what it is that you can give, and ultimately having too much taken from you than you can afford to lose. And so that's when you start wondering what's best. And that's when meditation comes in and prayer comes in for me, to say, I want to be able to be unselfish, but not at the expense of my own feelings. I want to be unselfish, but not at the expense of my own, whatever it is, my property or what have you. I want to give, but when someone starts to take, at what point do we say, okay, enough? When they start doing what it is that they do at your expense, at what point do you say, okay, this is too much for me, now I'm not loving myself and allowing them to do so? So that's really what's on my mind when I listen to that. It's just trying to grasp what the Lord wanted me to understand in regards to this. So I really appreciated the sermon, because it really brought back home the understanding that there is a necessary need to give, and you do want to make sure that you are unselfish as humanly possible, unselfish as spiritually possible, so that others who may need from you can get what they need. And then when it's time for you to be in their same position or a similar position, what you've already been given can be paid back to you. So that's the message, you guys. I tell you the truth, I'm really trying to get my mind into a space where I'm trusting God even more. Every once in a while, we come into these circumstances while I'm in this area in North Hollywood where it requires more faith to pull through what it is that I'm dealing with. It requires more trust to get through, whether it be trying to leave my stuff under the stairs here and leave and come back, and hopefully my stuff is still in place. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get a room. That requires a certain level of faith. Trying to apply faith to the understanding that the Lord will work on my GR situation and it's still not being in place. That requires a certain level of faith. It's always, for me, in this era of my life, reaching new levels from which more faith is needed, more trust is needed, more meditation is needed, and more of a trust in God that He will help you understand where He's speaking to you, and where He's asking you to wait a little while, so that message can come your way in an organic way. And I think that's where I'm at. You listen to the Spirit, and you don't really know if you're listening to the Spirit. You may be listening to the enemy wanting to use your feelings against you. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with now. It's like, okay, what is the Lord telling me what it is that I'm feeling? Or is the enemy knowing I'm listening for the Lord and He's sending stuff in? And so that's what it really is about. You got to ask the Lord to let you align with what it is that He wants you to know. Because what I've learned in this situation is that sometimes the enemy will do just what I described. He'll make you think that the Lord is speaking to you in his own little way, trying to mess with the timing of circumstances and put a thought in your head, and then something will drop in the bathroom, and it's like, that's not of God, because God's not going to tell you something that he knows you can't do nothing with. God's not going to align with you in energy that's going to bring you down just so you need to lean on him to be built back up. That's the enemy trying to knock you down to keep you from wanting to get up. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. I don't know what to trust in regards to certain things that I'm thinking about, but I know it requires more prayer, more faith, and more listening to the Spirit, and more trusting that God is in my corner for whatever it is the current moment circumstance may be. As I told you guys this morning, I was feeling really good walking around outside and speaking of the truth of the Lord, of the Lord's blessing in regards to allowing me to absorb something that wasn't so good, but still getting me out the house and moving around, do what I like to do and enjoy the weather. At the end of the day, it takes time to really absorb what may not feel good to you, what may have hurt your feelings, or what may have knocked your spirit aback. But at the end of the day, the initial thought in prayer was this: you have applied faith and seen it work. You have seen the Lord work in mysterious ways in your life till you know that he's on your side. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to continue to battle these battles that ultimately wage war against the enemy on his behalf. And if for some reason the enemy swings back, then that's to be expected. But you're strong enough to withstand it. And this is when you apply that faith of prayer. So I'm asking the Lord to help me with my behavior in regards to what it is I'm dealing with. Help my communication or lack thereof, whatever would be necessary. Communicate with him specifically, and to stay in the present in regards to waiting for his timing to appear upon my life, so I know what the move is next. So I know what my position should be next. And that's really what I'm asking for. It's okay to feel good for a couple hours, but when you start letting the dust settle and then your mind start racing about various different things, it can undo a lot of good. And that's what I felt was happening to me when I was doing the Bible study. I was in a spacey, because a lot of what it is that I needed to think about was I had time to think about while they were talking. And it's like, when I get back into the spirit in those moments, the Lord would bring me back to the center of what it is that we're doing, and reminded me, it is because you're in Bible study that the enemy's trying to attack you now. It is because it's time for my time and your family time that you are starting to think things that otherwise could have came to you at any point in time while you were walking down the street. But it's not of God that any of those things be in place. It's of the enemy that you be distracted from the word that you otherwise would receive in grace. So for me, it's like, I know the enemy's trying to attack me. I started the fight and I know how the enemy can attack me, and I know that he can use my imagination to make things significantly worse for things that I'm not communicating about. And so to know that when you've waged war against the enemy, to know what tactics he's going to use ahead of time, so that when he uses them, you don't pay no attention to that. You look past that, you look toward God, and you ask him for the focus necessary for your task at hand, so that when he does decide to strike at certain moments when you should be focused on the Lord, or you should be focused on your family, you should be focused on yourself, or whatever you're doing, you understand that whatever's coming to you in those moments aren't of God, because the sheer notion that something would distract you in the moment when you should be with God is that of the enemy. So whatever you're hearing in your head is likely a lie, or meant to further distract you and keep you from refocusing to what it is that ultimately you should be doing. And so that's what it is. It's about focus. It's about knowing how much of yourself you should give to certain conversations or certain people in regards to what they got going on, for it may not even matter in the grand scheme of things, for what it is that they're looking at may change for the grace of God in your favor. You know what I mean? Whatever it is that they're dealing with that would cause you whatever strain may change just off the sheer whim of the Lord. So you need to focus on him, because he's in control of all of those things. But if you focus on those things and away from him, then you're likely going to be off timing with everything else that you're looking at. You know, it's sort of like what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, or rather maybe 7 or 8 days ago. If I'm thinking about all these different things and I don't know what to pray for, I only got 20 minutes to pray, and I want to pray about this, and this at length, I've already put myself in a position to be overwhelmed and disappointed, because I'm not going to get all those prayers out. But what I can say is, Lord, I have concerns, and through the notion that I have a God that can take those concerns, I give you my entire bag of concerns. I'm a one person. I can't pray for everybody. I don't have the ability to think of all the things that are necessary to think of. But I do have a heart for these things, and I know you know that. So will you take what it is that the fullness of my concerns and heart would be, and align me with what it is that you want me to give you in prayer at this time? Or take all of these prayers and consider it a collective prayer for the circumstance. Whatever it is, my focus is you, because I know you can rain back down blessings on all of those prayers. You can rain back down blessings on all of those concerns or all of these people I'm praying for. But that I try to overwhelm myself will just be something that is a distraction from the real focus, which is the source from which all things come from. So that's really what it's about. It's not to overwhelm yourself with different things that you're trying to prioritize, or feeling like you guilt trip yourself because you forgot to pray about this person they may have asked you to pray. It's not really anything that the Lord can't do in regards to taking all of those things and bunching them up into one situation, so long as your eyes are on Him. So that's what I'm gathering for myself in this situation. That's what's coming to me now. You're worried about different perspectives that you have no answers for. You're worried about different things that you don't have any confirmations about. You're letting the enemy infiltrate your imagination and give you conversation that would take you away from the conversation that your life is really supposed to be about in that moment. You ain't supposed to be worried about what that person doing and how they handling their business and how that affects you. You're supposed to be worried about God and how He can affect all of it. How He does affect all of it, and He is the creator of all of them. So it's like that is what it is that's coming to me now. It's like, don't worry about all that. Just know that if somebody's doing something that trespasses against you, I'm on top of it. Just know that the enemy is always trying to trespass against you, and I'm on top of that too. But you need to have you in mind throughout the course of all of those different things, is what the Lord is saying to me. So focus your attention on me. I'll focus my attention on you, and together we can start figuring out how to deal with all this other stuff. So that's really what it is, man. You know, it's been a heavy day. It's been a heavy day, man. But it's been a great one in the first half of it, especially with the content that I left. And I'm very thankful that the Lord allowed me this frame of mind to do that. But after I got home, I was feeling a bit sick, physically sick. Wasn't doing too well. You know, it's been that kind of day. And on top of that, with everything that I've been considering while feeling not well, it just made it worse. It brought my mood down a little bit. But I'm a child of God, man. At the end of the day, whatever the enemy's trying to do to me, just know that I'm in a space where I know what formula works. You communicate with the Lord. If something hurts, you bring it to Him. If something feels good, you're thankful for it. And all good things come from the Lord, and all good things return. If somebody did something that you didn't like, or if you think they may have done something you didn't like, it's not for you to try to be on top of that with your imagination. You go to the source. And remember, the source ain't going to give you no confirmation or nothing that's going to send you spiraling. He's not going to do that. So if you feel like the Lord is telling you something that is going to hurt you, you just remember that what I just said. He ain't going to tell you anything that hurts you. What He's going to do is help you understand how to deal with what it is that you do not know. And from there, show you how to get away from what it is you need not be around. But He ain't going to sit up here and say, and this person did this, and this. And don't you feel bad about it? Yeah, I know you do, don't you? That's not how our God works. That's how the enemy works. But a lot of times, that's how our minds work. So that is the thought, man. And at the end of the day, man, I'll say this. We got to learn, and I say this for myself and others and anybody this applies to, we got to learn how to take our pain and not allow it to weaponize the people that we care about. If you're in a space where you're hurt and now you want to lash out at the world, you got to remember that is exactly what the enemy wants you to do. Okay? He wants you to hurt every good thing in your life. He wants you to discard of Him, wants you to discard of God, and everything that was meant to be put in your life for the purpose of God. You will by default discard of those things in that pain. That is what it's for. You're going to start hurting good people. You're going to weaponize yourself against others. You're going to do things that provide an indifference in your heart. That pain is going to turn you away from doing things that you should. So don't allow it to happen, more or less. Don't allow that to happen. Take what it is that you're feeling, turn it to God in meditation and prayer. Turn it to your understanding of the notion that you should be thankful first before the blessing comes, as we talked about this morning. for the notion that a God is going to bless you, and that is whom you're thankful for, not the blessing, because blessings come at a at a random number. You can count those, but God is going to rain all of them down in your lifetime and beyond, and that is who your grace should ultimately be accredited to. That's who you're actually thankful for. That is why thankfulness should be in place, no matter what the circumstance, because you got a God that's either ready to bless you with a blessing, help you overcome a difficult time, make a good time last, whatever it is that God's going to do. He's always ready. He's always willing. He's always on standby. And there's no reason to hurt alone. That's what I'm here to tell y'all. If you're going through something, if you've been seeing through some trauma, if now you want to take your pound of flesh out of it, out of the world, know that that is exactly what the enemy wants you to do too. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.